I'm glad Afra can't see this place. She would like the seagulls, though, the crazy way they fly. In Aleppo, we were far from the sea. I'm sure she would like to see these birds and maybe even the coast, because she was raised by the sea, while I am from eastern Aleppo, where the city meets the desert. When we got married and she was to live with me, Afra missed the sea so much that she started to paint water wherever she found it. Throughout the arid plateau region of Syria, there are oases and streams and rivers that empty into swamps and small lakes. Before we had Sammy, we would follow the water and she would paint it in oils. There is one painting of the quake I wish I could see again. She made the river look like a stormwater drain running through this city park. Afra had this way of seeing truth in landscapes. The painting and its measly river reminds me of struggling to stay alive. 30 or so kilometers south of Aleppo, the river gives up the struggle of the harsh Syrian steppe and evaporates into the marshes. Hey guys, I'm back again and I'm here with my review of The Beekeeper of Aleppo by Christy Lefteri. Okay, this is the second book that I read for the Booktube prize. This book is written by an author who is from Cyprus, and she works with refugees that have come through Cyprus as refugees coming from Syria. So she became interested in maybe writing a narrative about refugees fleeing conflict in Syria. And this is how this book came about. The main characters of this book are Nuri and Afra. They are married and they're living in Syria. Nuri is a beekeeper and Afra is an artist. And the funny thing is, the title, The Beekeeper of Aleppo, I don't know if it's referring to Nuri or if it's referring to his cousin Mustafa, who got him into becoming a beekeeper. So before the conflict actually starts up, there are some slight rumblings, but nobody's really thinking it will go to war. And Mustafa, who is Nuri's cousin, decides to send his wife and daughter off to the UK. But he decides to stay back. And once time goes on, the conflict actually starts and becomes full-blown. Mustafa decides to leave immediately and go and join his wife and daughter, which he has lots of difficulty joining them in the UK, but he manages. And at the same time, Nuri and Afra are going through something, but Afra doesn't want to leave the country. So what winds up happening is they wait until, something drastic happens, and then they realize we have to go. So they decide to pack up and leave. So we have, the story is following this couple through their travels, leaving Syria and getting to the UK. The story is, you could probably say, oh, that sounds like a typical refugee story. Yes and no. It's true, some of the things that you see in the story have a tendency to be a little repetitive when it comes to the refugee story. But the thing that Lefteri does the best, and the main focus of the novel, is on the trauma that refugees go through leaving their country and trying to find a new home. And she deals very well with this through both characters, through Nuri and through Afra. And it's funny because she writes it in a way that will surprise you, because it's not really what you're expecting. It kind of sneaks its way in. and you may or may not notice it at first. But once you start to read into it a bit more, you start to realize, yeah, that's some PTSD going on. So I thought that was interesting to focus on that aspect more, because it really shows her understanding of some of the real difficulties of being a refugee. Is the stuff that you see, the stuff that they see in their own country while the war is going on, and then even once they leave, the stuff they have to go through to get to somewhere else that they can call home. And yeah, I really love the way she wrote this book. And in particular, okay, the passage I read at the beginning is very telling of the kind of way she tells the story. There are a lot of little passages where there are nature scenes described, things about bees and the functioning of bees, and comparing the functioning of bees to the way humans behave, which is very clever. There's also a lot of reference to the sea, to trees and flowers and that kind of thing. And that is sort of like the little bit of sanity that one can find in this kind of story. It's almost like the thing that keeps you grounded into the sanity or life or living, or to keep going on. Other than that, the pacing of the book was very good, I thought, because I had no problems just reading right through. There were no parts of the book where I thought, okay, it's just starting to slump a little bit. No. And also another thing that was done very well is to see the changes in Nuri and Afra from the beginning of the novel to the end of the novel. So there is where you can see that these two people have really been through it, and you see how everything has affected them. And you kind of have a bit of a doubt on who you feel for more, you know, in the sense of, do you feel more for Afra or do you feel more for Nuri? It's a toss-up. I think I feel more for Afra to a certain extent, but they both really go through it, and they both are marked for life over, you know, the war in their country and leaving their country, but also the voyage that they take to get out of that hell and to get to the UK. So I would highly recommend this one. It's a very good read, well written, very interesting story. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. Bye.